instructions that aren't clear can lead to problems. Sometimes we might think we gave clear instructions, but maybe we're more familiar with the instructions we're giving, and so it makes sense to us, but to the person that isn't as familiar with the thing we're giving instructions about, it might not be clear at all. Years ago, there was when we were in Dryden, there was a fall when the lake froze over and there was a lot of ice on the lake, but no snow. And so you could drive a vehicle anywhere on the lake. And so uh, the maintenance men at Beaver Lake were working on a house on the north side of the lake. Beaver Lake is on the south side of the lake, and they were working on a house on the north side of the lake. And if they would drive on the road all the way around, it would be maybe a mile or a mile and a half to get over there. But if they go straight across the lake, it wasn't very far. So they had the pickup truck, which we had, which was kind of an old truck. It wasn't very good anymore. We were getting ready to replace it, but they were driving that truck across the lake, and so it was much quicker for them to get over across the lake. Well, that worked for a week or so, and then there was a snowstorm forecast, and there was snow coming, and there was going to be 8 to 12 inches of snow overnight. So I told the men, I said, you got to get that truck off of the lake because by morning there's going to be so much snow that it's going to be stuck on the lake and we won't be able to get it off. We didn't have a tractor or anything that was big enough to pull it off. And so I said, before you go home tonight, when you're done for the day, make sure you get that truck off the lake. And it was already snowing. And they said, well, there's too much snow now on the south side of the lake. The hill's too steep. We can't get it off on the south side of the lake. Where do we get off? And I said, well, go to the boat ramp on the northwest side of the lake. There's a boat ramp. And so if you go over there, you can get off on the boat ramp. And so he said, where's the boat ramp? I said, well, you're on the northeast side of the lake. So drive west on the lake and go around the point um, on the north side of the lake, go around that point that sticks out into the lake where Claire Schnupp's house is. And then when you get past that, you'll see a break in the trees, and that's where the boat ramp is. So just drive there, and you'll be able to drive off. It's almost at lake level. It's not very steep. There's no hill there. So I said, okay. Well, late in the afternoon, somebody came to me and said, I think you should probably head over there. I saw lights over on the lake, and I'm not sure what those guys are doing over there. So I drove over here. They followed my instructions. They headed west on the lake and they went around the point where Claire Schnoop's house was, and then they saw a break in the trees and they said, oh, there it is, that's the boat ramp. Well, what I forgot was that the outlet to the lake was there, just past the point at where the water flowed out of the lake. And there was also a break in the trees there. There was a break west further where the boat ramp was, but they didn't go west far enough. So they drove the truck over to where the outlet was, where the water would flow out of the lake. And when they got close enough to the outlet where the water was moving there, so the ice was thinner. And when they got close enough, the ice got thin enough that the front of the truck just went down through the ice. And fortunately, it the front bumper hit bottom. The water wasn't very deep, and the front bumper hit bottom before the windows went down below the ice. So they were able to roll down the windows and crawl out the windows on top of the ice. But there was the truck. The front was submerged in the water, and we were trying to pull it off. We got uh, uh, other vehicles over there, and we would put a chain on it, but of course we're on the ice, it would just spin. And so then we tried jacking up the front, but it would just fall back down in. And I was worried that if we leave it there overnight, it's going to freeze in and be frozen in there, and we won't be able to get it. It'll be a permanent fixture until spring. So, but finally we worked on it for a few hours and we weren't getting anywhere. And but then we said, you know what? Like the water's flowing and it's not freezing around the truck, so it'll probably be fine. So we just left it until morning. Well, Harvey Hostetler came down from Pickle Lake that night. He had I think what was it, a C10 Chevy truck, a bigger truck that we with a uh, enclosed box on the back that we used to haul freight up north, Pickle Lake, and so he looked at it and he said, "Well, I'm not taking my truck out onto the ice, but," he said, "I think if we put a chain or a cable in through the windows, uh, I think probably rather than trying to pull it back up onto the ice, let's just pull it. You're close to the shore. Let's just pull it down through the water and up over the bank and onto the road." So the next morning, that's what we did. We put a cable through the windows. We pulled the truck down through the water and up over the shore and up onto the road. Well, we took it back to the shop and tried to dry it out, and but water had gotten into it, and the somehow the oil pump wasn't working, and so there was no oil pressure. And it would start after a while, but you start it up and it would just rattle. It would just make a lot of noise. So, and we had another truck that was coming real soon to replace it. So we talked to the wrecking yard uh, west of Dryden and asked them if they would buy this truck from us. And he said, "Well, I pay $100 for anything you drive through the gate." So we towed it over, and we towed it within like a quarter of a mile of his gate. We kick started it and drove it. There it is. It was just rattling away, and we drove it in through the gate, turned the key off, gave him the key. So we replaced it. But the problem we had was that we didn't, I didn't give clear enough instructions, and the men wound up going to the wrong place and didn't actually get to the boat ramp. I knew where the boat ramp was, and I should have either gone with them or given them more clear instructions.